Pretty Little Liars, the book series, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We've provided a list of content warnings in the episode description. Hello and welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And today we have the second half of the book Flawless for you.
Yeah, book 2.
You know what I will say about this series? It is not flawless.
Headline on your book review for the paper. Flawless. Not quite.
My 7th grade book report on this series would have been scathing.
Yeah.
Nothing
I don't think it's
happened.
horrible.
No. It's a fun story, but like, tell it to me.
Yeah, let's get it out
Give me the
faster.
story.
Like, Jesus Christ. I wrote in my notes that when Wilden finally goes by Spencer's place, that was like, Jesus Christ. It was page 211 in my book. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this pacing is glacial.
Yeah, and like the Arya and Sean stuff took the entire book to like come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
The Hannah and her dad stuff took like the entire book to come to fruition. We're also not getting any like character development.
No.
Emily kind of.
Right. Because this feels
Emily's grappling with her identity, which is there's a lot of do I, don't I, what, how am I, like that. Absolutely. That makes sense. But then you have like Arya, who is not changing. Arya is Arya, and she's not going to change.
there's no change.
It's okay if you have a character that's like very settled into who they are. But then like everyone else needs to be changing. Hannah's not changing. Hannah's just spiraling. But it's the same level of spiral we've had the whole time.
Yeah. This still feels like the first half of a novel.
Yeah.
That you're just like, okay, and then they undergo character. Nope, no character development.
And I think because most of the YA I've read in my later years, I don't really remember all of the things I read when I was younger because I just gobbled books. But like the YA that I remember and the YA that I consumed as I got older was all fantasy, where you have so much plot that you have to get through. And they are able to do like multiple POVs and still tell the story.
Yeah.
And this, I feel like you're kind of like, okay, what's the story?
Right. All the books I read when I was younger too was like fantasy stuff. So you have an overarching plot where they have to save the day. They got to do something. Characters are put in a corner. They have to do something. This is just, we're putting these girls through the ringer. Something happens. And then we'll see you next book.
And like, I think I read...
Actually, they find a body. That's what it is.
Yeah. I think I read The Click or like one of those style of books. It wasn't a Pretty Little Liars book, but it was like that style of book where it's like rich girls doing things. And I remember that. I only read one of them because I was like...
what's the other series that's from...
I don't remember.
It's from the same group. They made a television show out of it. Gossip Girl, thank you.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was The Click. And like, they're all rich and they're like, this girl's picking this girl up in her limo and now this girl's talking to this girl, so this girl feels cool or, whatever the fuck it is. And at least that had more going on. I vividly remember being like, oh, I'm kind of into the drama. And then you're like, oh, whatever. Like, but this, I'm like, I'm into the drama, but can you give it to me?
Right.
Can you give me something?
Again, they're all still so separated.
Yeah.
And then you finally get it to the end, and this reading is way better than last reading, but things start coming to a head in the last 10 chapters, but still.
Yeah, but
let's
this is like
pick it up.
So like when you research how to write a novel, or when you Google how do I write book, how to write story, things I've done. Yeah, there's this system called Save the Cat, or like a way you can outline. It's not the only way you can outline, and of course there's lots of really cool different like ingenious ways to tell a story, but this is like one of those like tried and true outlining techniques. And the first 20% of your story is setting the scene, and then the character makes a choice, and the choice then dictates, like they choose to go on the adventure. They decide they're not going to be like they were. And so like this is like we've been in the first 20% of the book for 2 books.
Right. And you can do
even if there's only 4 books in the series, that's over. We're in the 50 mark.
Right. you can do this, but make it interesting. Like I'm reading the Book of the New Sun, which is 4 different books, and in the third book, at the end of the third book, the main character has finally kind of fully undergone a big change. But along the way, there's all these amusing adventures and side things that you're like, what the hell is going on here? What's happening here? This is so cool. What's this? What did they stumble into? That, like, you're fine moving, or some people don't like the book, like, for those reasons too, and I completely understand it. But, like, I felt fulfilled by the reading, and it's telling of at least a full story by the end of the book, even if it is leaving you off as, like, well, Severian didn't grow in this book, really, like, and, like, it left on a cliffhanger, but I'm, like, so enchanted by, like, the rest of it, and, like, felt full.
And there's also, like, when it comes to writing stories, like, if you have a character that is intentionally not developing, then when they make that choice in that first 20%, that choice is to not change. And so then it creates, like, a different structure for you.
Yeah.
And like I said, lots of people write lots of books in lots of different ways, or, like, have a story and they just tell it the way it makes sense. But this one, I'm like, what was the outline?
Right.
Like, and I completely respect that it is very hard to tie together multiple POVs into a story. Like, that's really hard, and, like, to do that. But I'm like, okay, tell me the story.
Yeah.
I just want to know something.
It brings it down. And probably because we are maybe adults reading this, but I can see the like the pitch on this, or, like, the exciting thing for teens. It's like, here's an unvarnished look at teen life. So, like, you from a girl's perspective. So and that all works with all of the men, or all the boys and men in this are even more than the show. The show softens it a lot because it's like, oh, I want to see this person. I like, Fitz, Toby. They soften them so it's like you get these, like, exciting love interests. But in the book, like, all the boys and men are, to more or less degrees, just, like, kind of horrible.
Yeah.
And the only one that's maybe softer in comparison to the show is Wilden, and that's because it's on the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that means he's a good character in this. I mean, like, he's just slightly softer. And then you also you get more frank conversations in a YA novel of, like, pressures of being a girl, and the ways that, like, I mentioned boys coming after you, but, like, holding secrets amongst one another, how important it is, like, looks and, like, posturing amongst, like, your peers. Like, it's all those kind of things. So I can see,
yeah, like that upper middle class, like, lifestyle of, like, the suburban, we care how everyone's perceiving us thing.
Yeah. And just, like, cliques and things in school. It's just like, I can't let them know about this secret I have, or, like, this is really, like, and you get the different perspectives because it's different. Girls saying this, like, oh, we have Emily, like, who's very scared of being, like, made fun of because she is different, because she's gay. Like Arya, who pretends like she doesn't do anything, like, care, or she doesn't really care about any of her tears, but, like, her home life's a wreck. So you get, like, these different things that teens can latch onto, and I understand that. But
yeah, I get the pitch. I mean, obviously, I like the show,
right? And yeah, there's not enough
I need more. Yeah, I need more going on.
Yeah. And the stuff I liked about the show is all, like, way past, like, this kind of season 1 stuff.
Yeah. What we most enjoyed about season 1 was me going, he's still here. Sean is still here.
Oh, he's still here.
It takes forever.
Yeah. Oh, and are we good to move into summary?
Yeah.
We are awaiting, we bring up the show, but we try not to, like, really focus on it because the SAG-AFTRA is still on strike, and they remain on strike because they tried to strike a deal with the AMPTP, and the AMPTP refused to come back to their counteroffer to the table. So, still on strike. We will still be reading these books unless we come up with another thing to do. Which,
God help me.
Yeah, exactly.
SAG-AFTRA, and you're out there doing the good fight. AMTPT, you need to get it together because I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
It's those lawyers in the Buffalo Wild Wings or near the Buffalo Wild Wings in whatever pavilion in LA that are causing this. So,
did you know that Buffalo Wild Wings is, like, one of the few restaurants I believe that I can eat at allergen wise?
Oh, good.
I have to look that up. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think I can.
I don't think you can, though.
Well, actually, wings.
I don't know. They'd probably put wheat in some of their sauces.
Yeah,
I don't know
true.
that though.
But I mean,
if you know, let us know. We can just Google the menu.
I can just watch you eat.
You know what I've always wanted to do? This is super romantic. I've always wanted to just have you watch me eat chicken wings.
Mike through the window. I don't even come in.
Bone in or boneless? You get to pick.
Well, it depends on what I'm feeling that day. Well,
I make myself sick.
We can get to the summary and we'll be on our way. All right. So Arya goes to the yoga class as ordered by A.
I just had an idea. Sorry. You know what I should do in the next one is you should do your summary. And then before we do this, I'll write my 3-sentence summary of the entire plot because like that's how little that happens in the half. Like it's helpful that you do chapter by chapter and actually do this, but like I'll summarize just like for brevity.
Do you want to take a stab at it right now?
I can't right now. Like I didn't have time to prepare. On the spot? Yeah, I'm not ready because like, there's still questions unanswered too.
Okay. I could try and take a stab at a 3-sentence summary before I do this. So it's got to be. So if it's a 3-sentence summary.
Yeah, you can't focus one on each girl. That's why I was like, this will be fun. This is a challenge.
Right.
I like that I challenged myself and you're doing it on the spot.
Right. A continues to put the screws to the friends.
Barely. They're weak.
Fair enough. I'm doing the summary. A continues to put the screws to the friends to various degrees. They all meet up, except for Emily, at the Foxy because Emily instead leaves early with Toby. The girls all freak out because they think Toby is A, but we find out that he is in fact not A when he winds up in the woods behind Emily's house, OD'd on pain pills, and then Emily receives a message from A.
I feel like mine would be like girls are not communicating with each other about their A clues, like already breaking promises. So like not communicating with each other. Girls are convinced in their own ways that Toby is A. Toby dead.
Turns out they're wrong.
Toby not A.
Yeah. No, that's probably much better.
I'll work on it though.
Yeah. Do we want to continue with my summaries, or do we?
No, you can. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop you.
No. That's what I'm wondering. Like, do we prefer just doing high level summaries, or do we think enough people are not reading that doing a more in depth summary is useful?
I mean, I think a lot of people probably aren't reading it. Do they need the summary? Is the real question.
Well,
you let us know.
Yeah.
If
you'd prefer that we just do a 3-sentence summary up top and then just talk
or
about
it could be longer. Like,
yeah. I mean, on Just King Things, they do 5-sentence summary. So.
Oh, I like it. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we could. Can I continue with summary this time?
Yeah. Summarize this time, just because what if someone's expecting this? What if they didn't read and they need your summary? You took the time to write it. You should put it out in the world. I don't say that to white men often, but I'll say it to you.
Arya goes to yoga class as ordered by A and finds Meredith teaching it and ends up liking her. She finds Spencer at the class, which freaks her out, and she runs away. Spencer is overwhelmed, tired, and sleeps in class. She tries to study at home and has a hard time. Her dad comes upstairs and is starting to warm up to her now that she's taking Andrew to the Foxy. And after he leaves, Ren calls and acts annoyed that he called late and agrees to meet him over the weekend. A sends Spencer a message to steal Melissa's old paper, and she thinks it's a good idea. Then A sends a message threatening Spencer's new boyfriend. Anna is at Sean's soccer game, feeling awful about her looks and tired from being worried about A. She talks to Sean when he has a break, and they agree to have dinner soon. She then finds a note from A, who makes Hannah tell Riley and Naomi that Sean dumped her and that she's bulimic. She splurts it out super fast and hopes they don't understand. Arya cyberstalks Meredith and remembers Spencer and Allison keeping a secret from her about the fireworks accident. Sean calls and she goes to meet up with him. They drink from his thermos. They drink alcohol from his thermos. I can't remember which. Mostly Arya does though, and she wants to hook up with him. He invites her to Foxy as friends, deflating. She tells him about meeting Meredith, and he encourages her to go down and confront her. They go to Meredith's house. Arya confronts her, and Meredith's like, "Sorry, I'm in love with your father."
Sean's just like a little drama king.
He is. Spencer, he's like, "You got to do it." No, he's just like, he's not drama king intentionally. He's just like, you got to stand up. And I feel like if you have Sean, out of all the men, if you have Sean in your corner, it's a good thing. And if you don't, he's an asshole. Spencer submits a stolen version of Melissa's paper. She also called Wren a half dozen times to no answer. Melissa brings Spencer down to talk to Wilden, who's investigating Allison's murder. He asks if Spencer has anything else to say about Allison and if someone hates her. Spencer remembers stressed waking up after the Jenna thing, begging Allison to tell the cops the truth, but Allison's like, it's best to keep the secret, along with Toby. Back in the present, she tells Wilden nothing. Emily and Toby go to the Foxy. She fantasizes about how good it would be if she actually liked him, but she actually doesn't. She goes to the bathroom and gets assaulted by Ben. She saves herself this time and tells him to back off. Emily sees Maya, and Maya consoles her and tells her that she'll wait for her. Hannah is feeling pampered at the resort with her dad when Isabel and Kate show up, invited by her dad. Hannah is thrown off by this and upset and storms off from the dinner table to go to the bathroom. She gets a text from A saying, get to the Foxy, your ex is with someone else. When she leaves the stall, she finds Kate seems to feel remorseful for the last time they met and wants to get along since Hannah's dad said they'll be seeing each other more. They bond over the Percocet and Hannah's purse, and Hannah gives her one. Andrew and Spencer go to Foxy together, and Spencer is uncomfortable not knowing what's up with Wren. Eventually, Wren calls, and Spencer is overjoyed. She turns around to find that Andrew heard the whole call, and so she comes clean about her ruse, and he's hurt and leaves. Arya goes to the Foxy with Sean, but tries to avoid him. After confronting Meredith, she broke down. He took care of her, so now she feels weird around him. Michelangelo is also at the Foxy with a date, but he's very sad. Sean tracks her down and lets her know he finds her more attractive now after last night. They hook up in his car, but Arya freaks out when she sees a note from A in his windshield.
Because men love nothing more.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I get to take care of you.
When I get to be like, you're emotionally damaged.
He wants to be the White Knight.
He does want to be the White Knight.
Hannah storms.
That is very high school boy.
Mm-hmm. Hannah storms into Foxy and finds Arya and Sean. She rips into him and he talks down to her, saying, remember, we're not dating anymore. She's humiliated and runs into the bathroom. Mona comes in and they reconcile. Spencer comes in and takes Hannah away to discuss an emergency hurting Mona. Spencer finally gets 3 of the 4 together and explains to Hannah and Arya that Toby must be A. They all come clean about their individual A messages. Spencer tells them about the Jenna thing, but they don't tell him what the A messages were about. Spencer tells them about the Jenna thing, Knight and Toby, but leaves out the secret Allie had on him. Arya goes to look for Emily. Emily feels weird at the dance, so asks Toby to leave. As the two drive away, she tells him about Ben assaulting her and that she might be gay, and she's worried people will judge her. Toby starts acting strangely, talks about how awful people used to be to him, and he's happy Allison's dead, especially after what she did. Emily freaks out that he's A and runs into a cornfield. The friends look around the dance but can't find Emily. Hannah realizes it's late and leaves the dance to get on a train to Philly. She has a nightmare about Toby on the train. She remembers when Allison threw a party, and when Hannah was talking to Sean, Allison came by and made fun of her for being bulimic. Hannah realizes she was making fun of her then because Jenna was no longer a target. Hannah arrives back at the hotel to find her father furious because Kate ratted on her about the dance and Percocet. Her mom arrives to take her home, and Hannah pleads with her dad to let her stay, but he doesn't address her. Emily arrives to an empty home but safe. Spencer calls her on the house phone and tells her to stay away from Toby, and they both say they think Toby is A. The line goes dead, and Toby arrives at her door, begging her to let him in. She says, I know what you did, and he freaks out. They're obviously not talking about Allison, but Emily thinks they are. The next day after the Foxy, Spencer's feeling freaked out. She calls Wren, and he says he's seeing someone else and dumps her. Melissa walks in her room and reveals that she's been seeing Wren since last Friday and now knows about Spencer seeing him from a concerned individual. Melissa's going to dump him now and is satisfied Wren won't be seeing him either. My favorite part of the book.
Yeah, girl boss.
Hannah wakes up to find Wilden in her house. She tries to tell him that, this is as in the famous towel scene. He's coming out of the shower. She tries to tell him that Toby is guilty and about the Jenna thing, but he stops her and says Toby has an alibi. His walkie-talkie goes off that police found another body. He leaves before Hannah can find out who it is. Arya came home from the Foxy to find her house empty. When she wakes up, she only finds her mom in disarray. Her mom received a letter that told her everything about Byron, and Arya knowing Byron is gone and her mom doesn't want to be near Arya. Arya gets a call from Spencer telling her she saw police cars in front of Emily's house. Arya, Spencer, and Hannah all arrive at Emily's house worried about her. They find she's safe, but that a mountain biker found Toby's body in the woods behind her house. Spencer tells her about Toby taking the fall, and Emily loses it over Allison deceiving them. Hannah tells the group Toby didn't do it, and Spencer is about to tell the group the secret Allie had on him when Jenna walks up, hands Emily her purse she left in Toby's car, and it has a note from him. Emily reads the suicide note from Toby. Emily apologizes to Jenna for bullying her. After Jenna leaves, Spencer tells the friends that Toby used to assault Jenna. Emily is distraught by this, but also thinks she ruined his life. The friends still think he was A. Later that day, after everyone has left, she reminisces that she fell in love with Allison the night of the Jenna thing because of how Allison had taken care of her. She then gets another message from A. End of book.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess like
there's some really grimy stuff in the end of this book too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little not great.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like, did that need to be the plot?
Right.
There's certain plot lines that I'm like, okay, like realistic and, like creepy older men, very realistic, especially at that time.
Yep.
Well, depend in your book, it's supposed to be modern. I guess they're still creepy older men. It's not like they've gone away.
They still left the house phone thing in my version.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, because how do you change that?
Yeah,
because her phone is in her purse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess some people have house phones, but
right. Well, I guess that you could possibly say that the Fields would.
Yeah,
out of everybody,
had one. Yeah.
Because probably Mrs. Fields would be like, I don't understand cell phones.
Or she's like, I have one, but we need a house phone for like actual calls, right. Yeah. A lot of this plot didn't need to happen.
Mm-hmm. You have someone you want to start with?
Let's start with Hannah.
Hannah? Okay.
Yeah, let's get Hannah out of the way because I just feel sad for her.
Yeah, Hannah's is really sad. She is completely alone.
Mm-hmm.
Arya at least like seems to bounce from boy to boy, which they got that adaptation right.
It does make more sense, huh?
Yeah,
you're like, oh yeah.
Spencer at least like has the facade of one, and then Andrew is like constantly barking at her heels. And then Emily makes friends with people quickly, but then nosedives in various ways. But Hannah has no one, and like beefs it with Mona, and then was also the fact that we find out that she also told Sean that her dad was dead.
Yeah, she told everyone her dad was dead.
Which is a great lie, but like it's a lie that she can't walk back because she can't get herself to just be like, yeah, my dad was really shitty. Like she feels bad for having to lie, but she's just created this cocoon where she's all alone, and then her parents are just
the worst.
Awful. Yeah.
Hers and Spencer's are competing for worst parents in the world.
Absolutely. 100%.
Mrs. Fields is a horrible person because she's racist.
Right, exactly.
But when you're breaking it down by parenting style, then you're like, okay, she's like number 3 on the list.
Like, this is
Ella and Byron are still looking pretty good.
I know. Ella seems to be
I don't know. She takes out her anger that Arya didn't tell her on Arya. Arya's a child, and Arya had been a child when she learned. And that to me is like, you can't do that. Like, and I totally, like, I think her emotions are valid on that. Like, I too would be pissed if like my like teenage child didn't tell me something like that. But you can't take it out on the kid because they're still a child. Yeah. They don't have the prefrontal cortex. The brain is not developed.
Yeah, the I can't be near you is rough. And then everybody's parents are just gone all night.
Yeah.
But Hannah's is just oof.
Yeah. And the Kate stuff is pretty on par for the show, except they drag it out in the show.
They really do. I'm so glad that they at least like get like mask off like really quickly in this. Because you kind of got the idea that it's like, oh, this could go bad just based on things. It at least just how mean and manipulative and also maybe naive Hannah is of like this girl coming up to her. She doesn't know how to play that sort of game where someone's being two-faced. Like Hannah is very
Hannah's not manipulative is what you're saying.
Yes, that's what I meant. Sorry. Easily manipulated. Kate is a manipulated one. Because Hannah still wants to, it seems like, see the best in people. And that extends to her father. So when it's really bad, so when Kate comes in, like all acting contrite and things, it makes sense that she's like, we could bond. And then I have like all these like possibilities where I'm now accepted by you.
Yeah, we could have a bottle of wine and have some pizza tonight.
Right. And then she just completely turns the screws on her.
Yep.
But my favorite part about her running back to Philly to get confronted is they're looking for Emily, and she's like, I'm going. I don't have time for this.
Yeah, I gotta go home. I don't have a car. I don't have anything,
I gotta get on a train back to Philadelphia. but she's just so alone. And they really crank up also the body dysmorphia is getting worse as it's just kind of going along. We get more of descriptions of her seeing like funhouse mirrors or like seeing her old self in things.
And like the idea that as if like the person she was like the worst person. It's very interesting. And like to have her father be the one that told her, I know this was in like the last set of reading, but like that was like, oh, you were always such like the nice kid. I was really proud of you for being the nice kid. Okay, well, you turned her into what she is.
And they can't take responsibility for her at all.
But he hasn't even been around for 4 years. I like that she yelled at them all.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's good to yell at your parents sometimes.
And she just really digs into him. I think that part where she goes like, yeah, you haven't been fucking around.
Yeah, like why would I think you cared? How would you know?
Absolutely.
One of the last times I saw you, you called me fat, and then...
Yeah. And she's had this, and that's the other thing, is the Kate preys on that validation. And it's just so insidious.
Well, and her mother gives it to her, and her mother brags about her. So then, who's bragging about Hannah?
No one. And Miss Marin is awful. Like, holy God. Absolutely just reams her for it. Doesn't even... Almost like locks her out of the house, like playfully. If Hannah hadn't like pushed back, she probably wouldn't have unlocked the door. I was like,
she is nothing like the Ashley Marin of the show.
We love Ashley Marin. Top tier character. Miss Marin, bottom. Very low, not bottom. Just like awful, awful mother. And I think that the part with it's so much less pointed, the Wilden relationship that we have going on there.
Well, and Hannah's like, oh,
that
well,
shoe I'm assuming is going to drop in 3 or 4 at the pace we're going, but
well, and Hannah's like, oh, if his car was just out there out front, like everyone's gonna, and he turned on his sirens as he left, like everyone's gonna know.
Like, great, cool.
Yeah,
I'm glad everybody knows this about my house. Like the woman I looked up to that I tried to model myself after.
We're sleeping with the young hot cop. Which, I mean, yeah, if you're having fun, Ashley, but I don't think that's the purpose of that.
I don't think so either. And it's and I say that he's softened a little bit in this. I say a little bit. He at least treats her nicer,
like a person. Yeah.
He's not actively aggressive to her when he's in his towel in the bathroom. He's like, "Oh God, I didn't know you're here."
Yeah.
Which maybe you should think that the teenager would be at the house, but it's a little softer, and also like trying to be firm of like, I can't have you involved in cases and things like this. So it's a weird dichotomy.
Yeah, and like, what's his angle? Like, I guess we don't know his angle yet. We don't know what their relationship is actually like now. We know why it started, but we don't know why it's still going on.
Yeah, still up in the air. Yeah, we assume based on adaptation things. But
so that's Hannah.
Yeah, and then we can, I guess, use this as a bridge. But the way she interacts with Sean too, you're just like, oh man, this man is leading you astray. This boy is leading you astray. He acts like a dickhead after, and he tries to be like nice to her, sort of, but is really just leading her on because she's thinks that something good's gonna happen and come from them. He invites her out to dinner.
Yeah, so they could discuss things.
Come on, man. That's messed up.
I mean, I feel like that happens a lot. One of my friends, when we were in high school, her boyfriend broke up with her, and then he asked if he could kiss her just one last time, and then he kissed her, and then she called me crying, and she was like, "Why did he kiss me?" And I was like, "Why? I don't know. Like,
I'm not.
You let him." And she's like, "Well, I didn't know what else to say." And I was like, "Well, that's valid. Like, what do you say to that?"
Right.
Like, you're 15. You don't fucking know what you're doing. Like,
and that's like the model here of trying to be adult Like, here's the adult thing. Like, we talk things out.
Yeah, we're trying to be like grown ups. Like, oh, we're still gonna be friends. Here's one last little like goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what the fuck? You know how many of my exes I talk to? None.
Yeah, see you later. Hit the bricks.
There's a couple that like I wouldn't mind. You know what I mean? But like, you don't. That's just not what you do.
And also, it would have been on Saturday, so it would have been after Foxy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we get a lot of like good Sean
with Arya.
Uh-huh.
Well, because Arya's just like, he's not like other boys. She's manic
Right.
pixie dream boying Sean.
Really? Wait,
she's so desperate for anyone to be fucking interesting that she's like, oh, he can read.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, girly pop, me too. The bar was in hell when I was in high school.
Wow. Well, and
he's read Big Book.
And it's so funny that at least the good thing also that this book shows is like female attraction, right? Like that's good at getting in their heads of like Arya like has a few sips of drink, and then like Sean like happens to like comfort her a little, and she's just like, "Is this gonna happen?
Should we kiss?
Is this happening?
Should we kiss?"
Right. Like, I heard you're like getting off the virginity pledge. Like let's get this going, bud. And it's like friend, and she's like,
okay,
biting her fist, like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Which I find so funny. That's also such a boy thing.
Yeah, because he's like, well, I don't want to be rejected, so I'm going to say friend.
Right. And the girl, hey, listen, Britain 101 playbook right here. That's so, I found that so good. And she's just like, shit.
Uh-huh.
So, but I was thinking we could transition off that to Arya.
Yeah, I think like talking about Sean, like you said, he wants to be the white knight. I think he wants to fix people, and he can't fix Hannah.
No,
because Hannah's not. She wasn't telling him the truth, first of all. So like he can't fix her because she was lying to him. But also like she doesn't fit into that image for him because she was already like that pretty perfect girl. So like, how do you fix her?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And she won't
let him.
Exactly. And won't be vulnerable of any of like her insecurities and things because she's
not that like she should. I would never let a teenage boy try to fix my life. Good God.
No.
Wouldn't even let him fix my car.
Hannah's in the right. Yeah, definitely not. So she's gated like that. So he's like, oh, I can't break in. And like,
yeah, I can't be the hero. He's not getting his emotional validation from the relationship, which is to be the prince.
So he's like, maybe I should like check out this virgin club and see what they're all about.
Well, that was because he was like, everyone was in a hurry to have sex. And he was like, I'm not in a hurry, but like, so why do people choose not to?
Right.
Which is like a really interesting like reason to do that.
It is really funny. I thought it's like Vice News. I'm going into a virginity club in the suburbs of
this would have
Rosewood.
been about that time. Did Sean start Vice News?
So, God. Oh, God. Is he that Sean?
Is that guy's name Sean?
I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Or is it? No, Shane.
Oh.
That guy's Shane. That guy's a fucking asshole. So, you know.
You mean the person who created Vice News? The people that did shit like that is not a good person.
Right?
I'm going to join a cartel for the weekend. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, I'm going to go to the mall.
And I'm going to take over valuable buildings and office space in New York.
Anyway. So, yeah, that was my Sean realization.
Totally. Yeah. No, I think that's good. It's completely accurate with the way like he's with like Arya. It's like I can be there for her.
Yeah.
Really support her as she's going through this.
And that makes me feel valued.
And she's like, yes, please.
But she's also like, oh God, he saw me very vulnerable and
right. I blew snot on his shoulder.
But then he's like, oh, I like that. And she's like, okay.
One thing before I'm sure we'll talk about other things, but I did want to flag with Hannah is that she's the first one, the one that's most ready out of all the friends to be like, Alec was an asshole, like probably for a good thing. So then like even the conversations at the end where like Emily's like distraught, like dying, Hannah's like, are you surprised?
The other thing I will say is Hannah's body dysmorphia is so bad because when you get anyone else's POV of her, for example, I noticed it in Spencer's section. Spencer grabs her her tiny wrist,
Mm,
and they call Hannah like tiny or small, like. But it was Spencer grabs her tiny wrist, or Arya or whoever. I think it was Spencer though, because I don't think Arya was gonna grab Hannah. And I was like, oh, so only Hannah sees herself as not tiny.
Right. And there's another, I think it's Spencer too, where Hannah drives up to Emily's house, like, because she was tailing Wilden and like just her PJs. Spencer's like, wait,
yeah,
she's like not put together.
I haven't seen you not dressed up in like years.
Like you usually look perfect.
Yeah.
So
it's like only Hannah doesn't see herself as what she is, which I think we know that, but like it's interesting to get it from the other POVs.
Absolutely. No, that's really good to flag.
Okay. Arya. Really her drama is her family.
Absolutely.
Because she's not fucking a teacher anymore.
No. Yeah, he's just kind of gone. He's not in...
But he'll be back because I read the little thing at the end, the little note from A.
Yeah.
And she called me dumb and said I didn't know who she was, but I know.
Yeah. Where were you the rest of the book?
Yeah. Girlie, do something.
Yeah. God, it's so annoying.
She just leaving like Post-it notes out.
No.
And like signs.
Puts a thing on the
It's
windshield.
the physical, like, and that's what I always said about season 1 too. It's like we had a lot of like clues that were like
there's a plane fly over.
A tumbleweed rolled in and there was a note attached. Though now that you've seen my least favorite / favorite clue, that was one of the last ones we got. I think.
Is that the tooth?
Yeah. And it's just so bad.
It's gross.
But like, so it gets a little creative again. But
yeah, absolutely.
But I guess like we can assume this is Mona. Like it's the same where you're like, oh, like it's not as creative right now.
No. Yeah, it's funny that right
paper. And
it's like, okay, they're like, how did they like slip the paper in the windshield
with no one noticing?
Right. It's all very physical. I do also. It's funny that Arya came home to the house empty and had completely forgotten about the A thread. I had so many other things going on, and I'm like, yeah, me too.
Arya's so busy.
Who cares? Arya is very busy. Gotta go to yoga class.
That Spencer goes to all the time, apparently.
And then it's just like, it doesn't really explicitly say that she thinks A is Spencer, but that there's like there's a suspicion there. I think that's so good. It's just like, but this is too convenient.
You can possibly just take yoga.
I'm seeing it all align. Her getting along with Meredith is a good choice. Like seeing it like non.
Yeah, she's like, oh, she's cool.
No, she's wild. I'm sorry, but like, I'm gonna break up your family.
Yeah,
we're in love.
I mean, yeah.
To your point of Sean being the drama king, you need to go in there. You need to confront her.
Yeah, you need to tell her she's ruining your family. As if the girl doesn't know.
Right. Meredith is like, he went away for a year. We're back on.
Also, she's like, we're in love. Which is like, absolutely the young person belief.
Absolutely.
And it shows you how young Meredith is, because she's not that much older than Arya.
Right.
And so this idea that like this girl who's like 19, 20, whatever, 21 is like...
She's a grad student, so we could probably
23.
say like 23, yeah.
She's in her Ezra era.
Exactly, but
why doesn't he date people his own age? Well, they're supposed to... those relationships are supposed to resemble each other.
Right.
So yeah, dating up.
Exactly.
But she's dating a lot more up than Arya is even.
That's
it's just
right.
all above board because she's over 18.
Yeah, legally.
Not above board in his marriage.
No.
Where's Michelangelo? Was he just out with his girly friend? He never came home.
Night. Yeah, he never came home.
Where in time?
Our poor himbo's just running around in Rosewood all sad.
Is he a himbo?
He's absolutely a himbo. That boy has too many feelings not to be a himbo.
You're totally right.
I love because he's even with Arya been like, yeah, like I'm at the Foxy. It's so cool to see you. You see that chick over there? She's really hot. She's with me. I'm not crying. You're crying. Of course, the entire time he's got his orange bandana around his eyes.
Yeah.
Carrying his nunchuck.
Got his little shell.
Exactly.
The hero and a half shell.
Where can you go when you can't hide from your feelings?
He just climbs in his turtle shell.
Arya drove by the cross field and saw half a turn of her.
Just a turtle shell.
Michelangelo stuck on his back. He can't get over. I've come around on this kid. It's really
You really are.
He's just really sad. He doesn't know how to process it.
Yeah.
He's also if Arya's like junior, so he's like sophomore, freshman.
Yeah.
He's like, this sucks. I want to be like Noel and having fun. I can't do that.
I just want to be cool like Noel. Who was there with some girl from another school.
Mm-hmm. Another person that just kind of completely drops out.
Well, he'll be back.
Arya's like, peace.
Yeah.
I got Sean.
Yeah. Noel's just like waiting in the corner for Arya.
And it's Arya's defensiveness around Sean too, to Hannah, because Arya doesn't know. It's like, you were telling me you broke up with him in class.
Yeah.
I thought this was fair play.
Yeah.
How was I supposed to read your mind? Especially,
which is valid.
Yeah, when things start popping off, and Hannah just keeps being like, so like, you guys come together? Like, what are you doing after? You going to after parties? Arya's like, stop it.
Yeah. It is weird. It's funny and it's weird.
That's
the most
typical
high school like part of it, because like, yeah, the amount of drama like I had with girls who were like, but I dated him 6 months ago, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I didn't know you.
Right.
Like,
I didn't know who you were.
I didn't write it down. I'm not gonna lie. Dear diary, today so and so is dating so and so. Like that was
right. Waiting for Jonathan to become available.
So just circling them.
Right.
Especially like Arya comes in from a different, you know what I mean? Like she wasn't there.
Hadn't been there, yeah.
Yeah.
But it also probably bugs Hannah that also all the guys are interested in Arya. Who's also tall in this.
She's tall and she's like a dancer.
I know. I had missed that she was tall. But she's different. And like
she's
new,
tall
so
and has
like,
big boobs. Right? Wasn't that the thing? She has bigger boobs.
Is that what they say? I just remember.
It's because she was talking about the bra she knitted.
Oh, right. I don't
think they're like ungodly. Like
right. They're just thinking when Hannah like arrives there and the guy that is with, I think, Naomi or Riley or whatever. Like,
one of those.
Oh yeah, she's hot. More putting the screws in.
Yep.
She doesn't even go here.
Well, she does.
Kind of. She's just disconnected from everybody.
Yeah, she goes there, but don't ask. She doesn't want to.
I'm too busy reading Proust. I forget what it is. Is that in Gilmore Girls?
Yeah.
It's like you always use Proust as like the example of maybe it's not Gilmore Girls. I forget what it is from.
I was just watching the episode where Lorelai is talking about Proust, because she's always wanted to say that, oh well, Proust said this, and it's the one where she's dating Rory's teacher,
right?
Mr. Medina.
Yeah. Which don't go and watch until the AMPTP strikes a deal with SAG-AFTRA. I read it. And I lost it. What is it? It doesn't matter. Proust doesn't matter.
Oh, but yeah, he's out there doing he's reading the cool kid books, and yeah. I don't feel like Sean's much.
No.
You know?
He just displays more emotional intelligence than anybody around Rosewood. That
he's one of like the 4 people we talk to that are the main girls.
But Arya also is just, she's looking for someone.
Yeah. Which, I get it, girl.
She's a girl looking for a guy. Not Noel.
Not Noel. She'll end up with Noel, because that's obviously how this plays out, right?
I assume so.
Okay, so Arya, her life is in shambles. Her parents are kind of bad, but not the worst.
Yes.
On a sliding scale, she's doing okay.
Yeah. Byron, pretty bad. Ella, pretty good.
Well, but as a parent, like to her, I mean, he made her keep a secret. I guess
that's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
As a parent.
I'm like, backing it up. What's a casual affair between daughter and father?
Exactly.
Secret, obviously. Jesus Christ, I have to stop talking.
Spencer.
You all knew what I meant. Yes, Spencer.
Her parents are just gone in this last
Well,
minute.
no, her dad bought cinnamon rolls.
Oh, right, comes in and it's just like, I see you're dating someone your age.
Would you like
Isn't
a
that
cinnamon
exciting?
roll?
Yeah. Poor Andrew. Maybe he's probably the one that is out of. I said every single boy and man in this is like awful, probably except for Andrew. Andrew's done nothing wrong. He's just kind of a nerd. And when Spencer is at the Foxy and he tries to pretend he's having fun, he laughs really loud so she can hear him. Which is really good.
That was my favorite part.
That's very passive aggressive, and that's fine.
And then Spencer sees it and goes, yes, he's sad.
Right, exactly. Can't worry about him.
What I really like about Spencer in the books is that she has both emotional and regular intelligence, and I don't know if they necessarily portray that in the way they do in the show. But
No.
so her emotional intelligence really shows there, or she's making wrong assumptions. I guess there is always that when you have someone's POV, but we presume that that's accurate. And I think that's pretty fun. Yeah.
We get all these tiny seeds that, again, don't pay off. Of shit like sleepwalking, not doing well in school because she's like things are so overwhelming, and that Ren then becomes this escape valve for that because it's like, well, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound now because I'm portraying everything that the family represents, which is school, doing well and succeeding, and I'm gonna go over here and hang out with this creep who will then toss me off because it's very obvious very early on in this reading that he does not want to deal with her. He's so much worse than this.
Yeah. And the whole she's trying to be mature and the maturity thing, and it's just, I mean, that's what they do.
And then
Cue Taylor Swift's All Too Well 10-minute version.
Yeah. And she tries to reach out to him and things, but he's blowing her off. And I wrote down too that it's like, yay, come meet up with me. It's like, I can't do that. I got to do school and things. Like, okay, I got to get back to my shift. Okay, red flag.
Yeah.
This poor Spencer.
Who
then is like, well, I'm gonna get a beard, but not in the way you think. Just to pretend like I'm not with the guy I actually want to be with, who probably shouldn't go with me to Foxy. I'm going to invite the poor nerd, and then everything will be fine. So there's a little bit still of Spencer, I understand what I'm doing. I don't care.
She's intentionally running the show.
Andrew will probably be hurt a little bit, but maybe I'll explain to him at some point, but we're not actually, you didn't think especially when she comes clean, it's very much well, Andrew, you didn't think this was actually going to work out.
Yeah, it's a little hurtful.
It's very mean. She's the meanest out of all of them, which makes sense that why her and Allison were the close friends, rivals. They're so similar.
Yeah. And they look similar in this.
Right.
That's a big
both
piece
have
of
the blonde, yeah.
Yeah.
And then even I like when she tells her dad also, it's I'm going with Andrew. He's like, oh, the class president?
Yeah, but he's also didn't you lose to him, basically?
A little bit, but then it makes him happy.
Yeah.
Well, at least you're bringing in the top tier to this, because if they beat you, then best of the best.
Yeah. And this whole thing is just it's a lot and there's no payoff.
No.
We get Spencer being it's Toby, and then it's not. Because that's the vibe that she's our Fred. It's the red herring.
Brings them all together, and it's it's gonna be Toby. And then everybody's like, you think? It's yeah. And then Hannah's trying to be it's not Toby, and she's like, shush, shush. She literally puts her finger on her mouth. Shush, shush, shush. No.
Yes. Yeah. So do we want to move over to Emily then, or is there anything else on Spencer?
Only the biggest thing related to her. Melissa, girl bosses. No girl bosses done in these books so far. Melissa is playing 3-dimensional chess here. Sort of. I mean, she gets help from A.
Yeah.
But
A tips her off. Yeah. And so Melissa says, what if I take my boyfriend back just for a while?
It sounds like she finds out, she reconnects with Ren, finds out from A, and then is fuck off both of you.
I assumed that she found out from A and intentionally reconnected with Ren.
Yeah, there's a specific date given.
Yeah, but I don't trust Melissa.
No, I only found out last night. Yeah. Let's just say I got in it, and Ren wasn't here in Philly. He was with me, and that was Friday night. Oh wait, but that was last night also.
Mm-hmm.
This whole week I've been at his nerves. It's all right. You remember Friday night when you couldn't reach Ren because Friday night was Foxy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so never mind. You're right.
I think so.
So Melissa's like,
or was it Saturday? I think it was Friday.
Yeah, I think it was Friday night.
When was Foxy, honey? I don't remember.
I love it that Spencer or Melissa's just like, here we go, fall into my web. I was like, this is the best part of the book. We should be following Melissa.
We should be following Melissa.
Because Melissa at least has been stayed up until this point, and then Melissa's like, okay, I'm going to dump his ass, and then you can't see each other either, so later.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah. You remind, I'm getting comeuppance.
If he'll leave with you, he'll leave you.
That's right. So Melissa, top tier character, best character in the book, who knows?
Queen shit.
Who Madame du Barry ran or walked so Melissa Hastings could run.
He's not talking about the historical Madame du Barry.
No, he's talking about the Rose of Versailles character.
Yeah, we're watching an anime called Rose of Versailles, and it's a historical fiction, heavy on the fiction, and Madame du Barry is utilized as, she is the job she had in the real world, but she's utilized as like this. And I believe there are rumors that her and Marie Antoinette did not get along. Like, I think like this is all based on something.
I can totally understand that.
But she's just girl bossing.
Oh, the best.
As good as you can in a 20-minute episode.
She is. Yeah, she's the mistress to the king, which is an entitled position within the court. So she's been running the shit.
She's the top mistress, which is the titled position. The other mistresses don't get titles.
Get one. Got it. And so she came from lower class. Like, this is a woman, she pulled herself by her bootstraps. She girl bossed harder than anybody else's other girl boss, gets to the top, and then who gets brought in? This blonde from Austria named Marie Antoinette, who's just ruining her life and is now a seat above her and will not acknowledge her because you can't talk to the person who's a higher rank above you until they address you. And this has been dragging on for months. And we get multiple scenes of Madame du Barry every time there's a societal function that Marie Antoinette does not acknowledge her, just breaking shit. It's so good. I love her so much.
It is good.
Good series so far.
It is a good series.
We're only 4 episodes in. Rose of Versailles, 1978. So we can talk about Emily.
Yes, let's talk about Emily. So Emily's like, oh my God, it's Toby. I have to jump out of this car and run into a cornfield.
Well, but let's back up before then. I think we get the courtship of Toby. That's a little bit like last time and things. But I love where they're going to the Foxy. And Emily's like, isn't this great? Wow, if only I was actually into him, things would just work out. Like,
it feels like holding my sister's hand.
But if I could do this, then like I could apologize to Jenna. My parents would be happy.
Maybe eventually I'd come clean.
Exactly, swimming would work out. Who knows? She's like, wouldn't it be marvelous if I was straight?
Don't worry, she can't be because one, she's not, but two, well, Toby dies.
Right. And Emily continues to be the most interesting character in this book, mostly just for me as a fellow sufferer of anxiety and OCD.
Yeah, which is wild because in the show...
Nothing. Like her trying to be like, okay, I'm going to close my eyes. And then when I look at the first person I look at, that's the like gender I'm into. Oh, I looked at that man. Well, now my eye's starting to look at women. I can't stop looking at women. Why can't I stop looking at women?
Well, she looked at a woman first, and then she did it again and saw a guy, and then immediately went over to women.
Just like that's like such the OCD like fixation like thought of like the anxiety thing. It's like I can't stop. Like even though it totally is that she's having trouble like with her sexual identity, which is absolutely it could be bi at the very least, but is interested in women, but becomes so fixated on something that she can't not do the thing. So it's like, don't look at women. Don't look. Oh, I'm looking at women. Okay, don't look at... I'm looking at women. It's good. What I don't like is that we get a second scene of Ben assaulting her.
Mm-hmm.
Way worse this time.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like we've already gotten... I like that she gets herself out of this and puts him in his place is the only thing, but...
Yeah, I don't think that... I don't know if it's necessarily Ben, but I believe that's going to be a repetitive plot line for Emily.
That's another thing the adaptation solely brings in is bodily harm to Emily.
Mm-hmm, but not in the same way.
No.
So you get one scene with Ben like this.
Right, but there's other things like the massage.
Yeah, no. Definitely, there's a lot, but that's what I'm saying. It's not particularly like this.
Yeah, and it's the worst because it's the most gentle of all the characters. Like Emily is the most fragile, and so to put her in sexual harm multiple times is really gross.
Mm-hmm.
And then especially with how like the Toby stuff lines up. Yeah, we put the content warnings up top, but I will say probably all through Emily's section, it's gonna be us talking around this sort of sexual assault and things like that. So we understand if you want to skip ahead a little bit.
It's also not particularly well done to make it make it feel empowering, I guess is really what I'm looking for. Like you don't feel like you are like, oh, this is an empowered character. Like
you understand, I understand Ben being shitty to her still. You don't have to put her in the same thing.
It doesn't have to be a repetitive plot line.
Yeah, and I don't think her, like you, actually, that's a good point, like not feeling empowered, like her getting out of that situation. That's not, her fighting back in that way is not the empowerment that we're looking for from Emily. We're looking for the reconciliation of her self-image.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where the power is going to come from, and she hasn't gotten there
yet. And accepting
yet.
Who she is and like loving herself.
Yeah, and she's nowhere near that,
and being comfortable with her being herself. Mm-hmm. And obviously that takes time. Like that's not a thing you can rush. But it is.
Just within the context of the story.
I think it's a poorly done plot line.
Yep. But at least Toby's a good guy.
Yeah. Well. And Maya says she'll wait for her, which really does make my heart go pitter patter.
It is really sweet.
It's very sweet.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, Maya.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
At least Maya survives this.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in the rest of the books, but I was worried that that's what we were going to again. I was like, oh no.
You're like, already?
The biggest blemish on my record in podcasting history.
What?
Pointing the finger at Maya the entire time, and then it's just like, oh no, they just decided to kill her off.
Yeah, and I couldn't stop you.
No. Good content, I guess, for people, but good lord.
Yeah. Yeah, so then we Toby's driving us home. He's like, I hated Allison, and Emily's like, but I loved her, and so therefore you must have killed her. She hadn't talked to Hannah, so she didn't know this was a group feeling.
Oh god, everybody should have talked to Hannah. Well, I mean, Hannah didn't know at that point, actually, so that's all right.
But then Emily jumps out of the car.
Mm-hmm. Does the classic thing of, I know what you did, and he goes, you do?
Yeah, and then after he leaves, she falls asleep on her front porch with a baseball bat, and I'm assuming Toby puts her to bed.
That's what I assume so, too.
Because he had her keys.
Yeah, and then OD's on pills in the woods.
Yeah.
Because he
thinks she knows that he was assaulting his sister.
Yeah. And that is awful.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Jenna's like a true victim in this series too. Jenna's a #girlboss in the show, but in this you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah. It's really sad.
It's also like the idea that Allison dropping the firework was an accident because she saw that does kind of humanize Allison in a different way, where you're like, oh, she was like, she was going to do something that was bad. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not defending her actions, but then she was like, oh my God. And then, shit got so much worse.
Absolutely. She was, at least in that instance, was doing something silly. Of like, I'm going to launch a firework and scare the crap out of Toby. In this case, he was literally peeking at them. So something's going on there also with the the sexual deviancy of Toby
Mm-hmm.
and younger that I assume is just going to remain unresolved of like what was going on with him. I guess I don't
Like
know.
why he was doing that.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily want to know, but just because it's now an open question just because it was introduced.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's no possibility now for him to grow or like understand like what he did, like, for us as readers, I guess, to understand like what that was like for him to come back after doing all these things.
Well, and also like maybe hopefully we'll get something from Jenna though, what it was like to live with her attacker.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think that's really the story that should be being told, not like Toby's story.
You're right.
I know you have a soft spot for Toby in the show.
Yeah, I think it's more just because it's this thing that comes out of nowhere for it not necessarily comes out of nowhere for Toby, but it's just like the stinger at the end and then he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you'd necessarily need what I was just kind of like elaborating there. I think I'm just kind of like working through like feelings of like feeling weird at the end of it.
Yep. It's gross.
Uh-huh. And then Emily's reaction, of course, being like, I ruined his life.
Yeah, like as if it was her fault.
Uh-huh. Which again speaks to his kind of awfulness of putting it on her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like suicide is not something to be taken lightly ever, and a lot of people that like go through like depressive bouts and things like that, it's very much an illness. And I'm not saying that people who commit suicide, it is like, you know, something that is like their fault or something like that. But in this, it's really portrayed that he can just no longer live with himself because other people know about what he did.
Yeah, so it's not the guilt about what he did because he was living with that. It's the idea that other people know.
Right. And then writes a note to Emily.
Well, includes Emily in his note.
Right. And I think it's a really gross way of also doing that. Mm-hmm. Showing someone committing suicide.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just not well done.
No. Yeah.
Well, the end.
Flawless.
It was not flawless. Next, we're doing perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is going to be perfect.
Reference points, the only ones I found were all singers.
I think so too.
Natasha Bedingfield was one of them.
There was Billie Eilish again came up in this at the dance. I think it was when Michelangelo was sad. When they were in Sean's car, Arya heard the sounds of Lizzo. Oh, in that same thing, it's Andrew and Spencer going through the dance, and then Ariana Grande is also referenced in there as well.
Arya shouted over the swells of Natasha Bedingfield.
Oh, Lizzo, I think.
Love it. I also had Emily going to a No Doubt concert, I believe.
Oh, wow. I must have missed that. What chapter was that?
Emily goes to bat. They were planning to go to the Jersey Shore the following weekend, had tickets to the No Doubt concert in July, and Allie was going to throw a huge 13th birthday party in August.
Was this the last chapter?
It's when Emily's like wondering how Toby killed Allie. So I think it's when Emily goes to bat is the chapter. It's after he goes, well, I guess your secret's out. And he's like, you don't understand. I was so young. And then like it's like a little bit later. It's like, it's in the paragraph that says, but then Emily thought about the night Allie went missing. It had been so beautiful out. The perfect kickoff to what was going to be a perfect summer. They were planning to go to the Jersey Shore.
Harry Styles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just all singers for me too. I don't think there's any. Meredith's favorite movies are very college student because they're just so fucking random. Donnie Darko, Paris, Texas. What was the last one?
Oh, I don't remember, but it was the same in both of ours.
Yeah. I think I have it marked. Oh, back up. Princess Bride.
Yes.
I get it. You know, you watch some movies and you just kind of pick random ones you like. Oh, and then the other one, there was talking down about BTS and The Bachelor. But
What chapter?
chapter 19, page 180 for me.
That's not going to do me any good, but chapter 19.
Oh, Arya imagined what Meredith was like. Imaginary Meredith number 2 listened to BTS, loved The Bachelor, and captioned her Instagram post with needy, insecure hashtags. Never did Arya think she'd be Artie. Why would Byron need an artist? He had Ella.
Mm-hmm. Imaginary Meredith listened to Kelly Clarkson, loved Laguna Beach, and if encouraged would lift up her shirt to get on Girls Gone Wild.
That's so much more scathing than this one.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, and then the last thing. Arya compares Sean to a grilled cheese. At first, she thought he was just a regular grilled cheese. Not exciting, but little did she know he had brie inside.
And chopped up portobello mushrooms.
That's right.
I was hungry when I read that.
I was like,
I want a grilled cheese.
This is rude as hell to regular grilled cheeses.
I love grilled cheese.
Yeah, me too.
Well,
Arya, you're on notice.
Any final thoughts?
Nah, that's it.
Yeah. We'll keep trekking along.
We will. We'll be back in a couple weeks with the first part of Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We'll plan on doing chapters 1 through 19. I'm going to write that down. Chapters 1 through 19. I don't have my book yet. It is on the way here, but I think that should give us enough leeway.
Scandal.
I know. I'm not perfect.
Must be hard.
Yeah. Chapters 1 through 19. And I'm writing a note to myself now. So I put it correctly in the description this time.
Sometimes when you stand behind your microphone like that and it's just your eyes, it looks kind of like the neighbor from, was it Home Improvement?
Yeah. Wilson.
Yeah. Just the vibe, not obviously aesthetically.
Right. You know?
You're you. I can recognize you almost anywhere, I think.
Good. Almost.
It's been almost 10 years and I think I can find you most of the time.
Except for our masquerade. I put on the little mask there and you're like, who is this?
Who's that man?
Who's this?
I'd know your ass anywhere.
Yeah, right back at you.
Thank
and
you.
You'd be like, who are you? And
Turn around. Nope, it's not him.
Yeah. Or I'd be tuxedo mask and you'd be like, you didn't do anything.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, thanks for the rose.
Carry lots of roses around.
Well,
when we're not here, we'll be getting back to it soon, but there's at least one new episode that you can go watch on our YouTube channel, Burger Discourse.
I'm sorry we fell behind. My brother's cat died.
Yeah, so it understandably that we have not recorded an episode in some time.
We had to, cheer him up for a weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, come over and hang out and do things in person and not record Let's Plays. And we're doing a Let's Play of the Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories over there. And then you can also find this podcast on all your audio podcast platforms of choice at Dead Ends. We would, go in there, review us. We deserve, give us 5 stars. Give us a nice little boost in the rankings.
Yeah.
And then...
and a boost to our egos.
Yeah.
Or our hearts.
We'd love it.
Yeah. It makes us feel good.
You can also find us on YouTube at dead_ends and tell your family and friends about it. We don't do any advertising. We're just, a couple of regular folks doing a podcast.
Uh-huh.
And you can also email us at dead.
we are, but it sounded so much more like your political campaign. I'm just your average Joe.
Wait. I'm just your average Joe.
Except your average Brenton.
That's right.
And there aren't a lot of Brenton, so it already doesn't feel very
That's
average. Right. No, it's an Emily.
My name is unique, but I'm not.
I'm gonna get you a shirt with that on it.
And you could email us at deadendspcast@gmail.com.
If it has spoilers, just make sure you put in the subject line, Emily Reed.
Mm-hmm. Or you can just leave comments on our YouTube channel, and that works
fine. We like that.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone who already does that, too.
Exactly.
We appreciate you. We have fun talking to people about this. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It's supposed to be fun. Don't take it seriously.
Nah, we got conflicted feelings, but that's okay. It's all part of the fun.
Yeah.
So, I almost just did a completely different sign-off. We're still here, and we're going to read everything.
Ooh, what were you going to do instead?
Well, see you next time, folks.
Okay, love you. Bye.